Hi, Facebook friends. How are you this week? Well, this is kind of a continuation from last week. We're going to still be talking about my little patio garden and how to have a garden in small spaces. And if you haven't been to this channel before, I'm Iva, and the name of the channel is Living Good on Less. I'm retired, been retired for a good long time now, and I enjoy it fully. So, we're going to talk about gardening, and sometimes people will tell you that if you, for instance, put a tomato plant in one pot, that's all you put in it. So you end up not having as many plants and as many vegetables for your table, when you harvest. So we're going to discuss that and how you can have more plants and more harvest with the little small space you have. Because I live in a apartment, and so we don't have a lot of space to have gardens. But you can make a large garden with with smaller spaces. So we're going to get started, and if you have any questions, put them in the comments because I'd be happy to answer anything that you have. And I'm just starting my garden because I'm a little late this year getting going, and it's it's doing great and looks good, but I still have some seeds that have not come up. I just planted some of them this last week, so we will keep up with it and see how everything works out. So I'm going to get started with some of the pot plants and let you know what's in there. And I hate to say this, but I forgot to label some of my pots. So we'll be surprised when certain things come up and what I planted in there. I know what I planted, but some of the pots, I'm not sure what's in it. So let's just get going. And now, this is my little garden and in the patio area. And this is my hay, and we will talk about that at the end. That is a bonus thing to talk about that's really important. And I have painted a couple of stones, walking blocks, stepping stones, I guess you call them. And I'm going to paint more to put out here. But I have, all of these have seeds in them. And this is a little lemon tree I dug up out of one of my pots. I'm going to plant that at my daughter's house in her yard. And it's a Meyer lemon. You can even take cuttings off of a Meyer lemon and root them and start your own tree. So this is my Swiss chard. And let's see, when did I plant that? I planted that before winter, and it's doing really good because usually you plant it in the spring. But in there, I also have a couple of those large red sunflower seeds. I've planted radishes in between, and if you see those little small plants right there, I had a whole lot of those to come up by themselves, and it is, let me think, marigolds. So I planted a few in almost all the pots, and this is a indeterminate tomato, and it will make little small tomatoes, little round tomatoes. And you can see I have some marigolds in there. I also planted a couple of sunflower seeds in there. Also, I have radishes in almost everything because radishes, I don't if you know or not, they come up so fast and mature that you'll have those pulled up before anything else starts making. And you see this bottle that I have right here? I have it buried. If you have plants that have deep roots, a lot of times when you water, the water doesn't get down all the way to the roots. So if you do something like that, put holes in the bottom, small holes. Fill it full of water when the weather gets really hot. The water will water those deep roots where it may run off of the top or not sink low enough. And I have 3 little bell peppers here, and I always have good luck with bell peppers. Right there, they're going to be late, but it's indeterminate tomatoes that are little small pear-shaped, but they will bloom and make tomatoes until the end of the year when we have our first frost, which is late in the year. In that pot I have radishes and I have cucumbers. Over here is oregano, and I use a lot of herbs in my cooking. I like to experiment with things. And this is a lemon balm, and you can make tea out of that. It's a calming tea. I have some flowers here that's chrysanthemums right there. It was just came up in a pot, so I planted it. And in this pot is kohlrabi. If you haven't heard of that before, it's kind of like a turnip, and it tastes similar to a turnip, but they grow on the stem outside of the soil, and they look kind of like a space alien or something. They're fun, but I like to eat them also. I have parsley and marigolds and cucumbers in that. This is a determinate tomato, which means all of the tomatoes will come on at once, kind of like a patio tomato, and then it quits making, and you can plant something else there. That's cucumbers in that pot too, and this is another bell pepper. This is my basil, and I have sage over here, and that's my rosemary that I have had for years. They will just last and last. Let me get over here out of the sun. Sorry about that. And that is so large. Also, I have a jalapeno pepper right there. This is a zucchini. And one of the pots over there, I have yellow squash planted, but they haven't come up yet. But they'll be fine. I have dill down there. Oh, I also planted over there in one of the pots chives. And this is what they call social garlic. You use the leaves mostly, and it's good in your food. And we're going to get to this now. This is hay. And you'll see I put some over these plants here, over the soil. Right off, if you have seeds underneath like I do here, you don't put it too thick at first, because you want your plants to be able to come through from the seeds. And then as they come up, you can put more of the hay, and it will keep your soil from drying out during the summer, and it will also keep the weeds down. And it will rotten and deteriorate and turn into good soil. So, and on the fences where I have the cucumbers planted, I am going to put nails with strings and let my cucumbers run on the fence all the way around, but those strings will hold them up. Oh, I also have thyme hanging in that hanging basket there. And if you get hay, I wanted to talk to you about that. If you get any kind of hay, you will want to have, it's called coastal hay, and it has no weeds in it. It's the only hay I will ever put in my garden because it has no weeds, and most olive hay has weeds and seeds, and this does not. So it's really good for your soil, good for your plants, and that's my key about the hay, and I just love using it. So if you have any questions and anything at all, just put it in the comments, and you can like my like it, my channel and my video, and also subscribe and ring the little bell if you want to know every time I post a video. We are going to talk about next week. I plan on talking about companion planting, if you've heard of it. It's where you plant certain plants together and they complement one another. I'm also going to talk about different things that you can do in your garden. So if you put your questions below, then I can answer your questions and you'll have them before next week. Or if there's something you want me to add or talk about, we'll do it next week. All right. I'm so glad you tuned in, and I just bless y'all and hope you have a blessed week. Thank you.